Okay, Lions win 31-9. Man, did that feel good. I don't know what the national perspective was of that game. I know the Vikings didn't score a touchdown. I know the Lions held them 0 for 4 in the red zone on touchdowns, which was amazing. So it might have been a stinker of a game, but not for Detroit fans. That was amazing. They might not be the betting favorite right now, but they've got to be the public favorite. The Lions have to be the public favorite as far as winning the Super Bowl. I don't think there's a team in the NFC that can compete with them. Sure, the Lions can throw out a clunker, but you don't win. I think you don't lose 2 games, 15-2 on the season. I think they won 11 games in a row. It might have been more. You don't really throw out too many clunkers when you put up a record like that, a season like that, and they don't do it because of the man in front, Dan Campbell. I think he preaches grit most and foremost. It sticks with them, and that travels. Maybe that's one of the things that usually in the playoffs people will say, defense travels, the running game travels, but those are on opposite sides of the ball. Grit travels, and luckily, number 1 seed. They're not going to have to travel far, hop in an Uber and head to the field, but wherever they're playing, they're coming with gritty toughness, and that's on both sides of the ball. The defense was the MVP on this game. Vikings 0 for 4 in the red zone, held Darnold to under 50% of his completions. And the player of the game, despite what Pro Football Focus will say, was Amik Robertson. Pro Football Focus hilariously ranked him 11th of the Lions' 11 starters, which is ridiculous. But, I mean, he traveled with his high school rival. That's a pretty awesome story. I don't know if the Lions knew that when they signed him, that they were getting the Justin Jefferson kryptonite. He covered JJ on 35 of 43 routes ran, let up 3 catches on 9 targets for 54 yards. That one big catch was the one blemish. So I guess that's what Pro Football Focus is looking at. But I mean, he is the epitome of grit and toughness and what Dan Campbell wants. Dan Campbell, back in Hard Knocks, they said that about Craig Reynolds. Like, he is the embodiment of what we want to do as a franchise, and that's Amik Robertson. He probably wasn't drafted high, didn't get recruited high out of high school. He went to Louisiana Tech, whereas his high school counterpart or rival Justin Jefferson goes to the big school LSU. I doubt Amik Robertson got drafted high. 4th round pick, not high. Sound familiar? Amon-Ra, 4th round gems for the Lions, but doubted his whole career. Let go by the Raiders as their nickel corner, and injury, and boom, you're thrust into not just the starting lineup, because he was always getting about 40% of snaps on the year, but thrust into maybe the most important role for the Lions against the Vikings. Hey, that guy over there, Justin Jefferson, we need to shut him down. And Amik Robertson did that, and it was awesome. If you think about, if we're going to keep Justin Jefferson in check, Shirley, don't call me Shirley, Speedy Naylor and Addison and TJ Hawkinson are going to have a day. No. Between the 3 of them, 6 catches out of 18 targets. Anzalone was back running all over the field. It looked like he was getting a little chippy with Hawkinson. Love to see that. Anzalone is quietly a kind of a pretty solid trash talker. Love it. The defense blitzed. Blitz, baby, blitz. Thank you, Drewski. They blitzed on 55%. 55% of the Vikings dropbacks and got pressure on 49% of them. And Sam Darnold was once again seeing some ghosts. He was quoted saying, to paraphrase, the blitz got in his head. Ghosts were in his head back in his New York days, but his actual quote was, "Just looking at my feet, feeling like on some of those red zone plays could have been a little more grounded instead of trying to backpedal or escape." And the pressure was all night, relentless, right up the middle too, which is the pressure you want with the statue, like Sam Darnold. And he pumpkined, and that was probably my main key to the game. A lot of people's main key is always going to be the quarterback, but make Sam Darnold earn it. On the other side of the ball, it was Goff's got to lead us, and Goff's got to take care of the ball, which he did not, but I'll get to that a little later. So yeah, the defense was awesome. They carried the game. They got enough pressure. They got enough sacks. I think 2 or 3 sacks in the game. No turnovers, but one of the craziest things to me was when the Lions didn't score. The Vikings' starting field position was their own 14. Okay, bad. Then the 42, their own 42, their own 46. The Lions 7 in the 50-yard line. No touchdowns. That is amazing job by the defense and Aaron Glenn. Sam Darnold pumpkin piddled down his leg. You would think that, and maybe the best quote of the day was the man Dan Campbell just speaking fear into Kevin O'Connell's soul. Hey, I'll see you in 2 weeks, meaning go have fun with those cute little girls in Los Angeles, but when you're ready, come back to our house and we'll give you another spanking. I mean, Kevin O'Connell had to smirk and just look down and say, fuck. The saying, the nomenclature is it's tough to beat a team 3 times. I tell you what, it seems like it's tougher to beat the Lions 1 time than another team 3 times. The Vikings can come back anytime they want. The owner can buy as many tickets they want. It doesn't matter. The Lions will kick the shit out of them no matter how many times they come into our building. So, awesome game for the Lions. Carried by the defense, I think. Anzalone coming back was awesome. I mentioned maybe a bit unmeasurable. I actually think that's a TikTok that comes out today. I was thinking Anzalone coming back will maybe free up Jack Campbell to make plays, but interestingly, they let Jack Campbell be the green dot, meaning he's calling all the plays. He's where everyone's looking. And it looked like maybe that freed up Anzalone to be the playmaker. He shut down TJ Hawkinson. He was flying all over the field, led the team in tackles. And he's definitely the leader of the team, at least of the defense. He's the heart and soul of this team, Bobby. There was a couple clips floating around of when he was, he was the last player introduction, and the crowd just lit up, as you would expect. So that's awesome to get him back. As far as other returners, Hutchinson was on the sideline. It's always a nice jolt. He's Gandalf. If we can get to the Super Bowl, maybe he'll be there. That'd be awesome. Emmanuel Mosley, maybe one last tiny piece to get him back. And you know what? We can afford these guys one more week of rest because we get that bye. Hopefully, Kevin Zeitler, it looks like he pulled his hamstring a little bit. He's got 1 week of rest. Same thing with Terry and Arnold. And of course, the Lions can't have a game without more injuries. So 2 bigger players getting banged up a bit at the end. So this bye is huge. Everyone get another breather. I mean, think about that. The Lions just beat the best team in football other than the Lions, maybe. Montgomery, Zeitler, Arnold, Mosley. All 4 of those guys should be back and healthy when we play whoever we play in the divisional round, and we don't get that without the bye. Without the bye, we're traveling to Los Angeles with a couple guys banged up, a couple additional guys banged up. Geez, this was a huge get for the Lions. 4-point game at halftime, 10-6, and then getting even a little closer in the third quarter. But this was a tight game for sure. But I feel like just watching the game, you could tell that the Lions were tougher in all facets of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. You can't tell me, a Viking fan looks at your kicker with confidence. I mean, that guy looks like a nervous frat boy going out for what's it called? Like I don't know because I'm not a frat boy. Tryouts. What are the frat tryouts called? Whatever. That's what he looks like. He looks terrified out there. He missed another kick. He has not been a good kicker. My mom even said the same thing about Sam Darnold. He did not look confident. Of course, he wasn't comfortable. He's getting pressured 50% of his dropbacks. So awesome game by the defense. Awesome game by the Lions as a whole. And of course, best for last. Maybe I don't know if you can have a best for last with this team. But I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs leveled up. He has hit supernova. He's on fire. He's a star. He led the NFL in touchdowns. What? Where did that come from? He is now the single season record holder for touchdowns for the Lions. Short-lived was Jamal Williams' reign on that, but that's awesome. And a couple, I was thinking a week ago or so, when I was trying to describe Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery's roles on these teams, to me, Montgomery was the finisher, the opener, and the tone setter. I don't know if Montgomery, when he comes back, I don't know which of those roles he retains. Like, I think he's the opener or the middle relief guy, and Gibbs has got to touch the ball 20 times a game. He's electric. He's our best player, hands down. He's maybe the best playmaker in the NFL. Him and Jamar Chase, yeah, that's awesome, and we've got him on our side. He averaged 5.6 yards a carry on 250 carries this year. That is ridiculous. Not only did he have 20 touchdowns this year, David Montgomery had 12. Can you imagine, if Jahmyr Gibbs gets a full-time role in this offense, he might break... I think LaDainian Tomlinson had 28. He would break it 100%. Why is this so hard to find? Yeah, 30. Yeah, so 31. Yeah, how impressive is Gibbs? Not only did he set the Lions' single-season touchdown record with 20, David Montgomery has 12. The single-season record in the NFL is LaDainian Tomlinson with 31. If Gibbs got the full workload, he could probably break that. Granted, that's with one extra game, but I mean, I just said Gibbs and Jamar Chase. He's absolutely, if he continues to have this career, he will be in that LaDainian Tomlinson. Ever hear this guy, Barry Sanders echelon? He will be in that LaDainian Tomlinson, Barry Sanders class of football player, and he's on our squad. And the guys that were, I was not mad when we took Gibbs. I was shocked, and mostly it was because we still had Swift on the team. All right, at the time we would have had Swift, Jamal Williams, and Gibbs. So that was just more shock of my face. But I still, regardless of how shocked I was, the nomenclature, or I gotta find a new word. The sentiment around the NFL is you don't draft running backs that high, but maybe, sometimes you do have to zig when everyone else is zagging, and the running back has a massive impact on a football team. Look at the Eagles and Saquon Barkley. Look at the Lions. Hey, who are the 1 and 2 seeds? The Lions and the Eagles, not the Vikings. Which of those 3 teams are missing a superstar at running back? The Vikings. Who's the number 1 seed in Kansas City? Patrick Mahomes. Superstar. Who's the 2 seed in Kansas City? Buffalo. That's interesting. That's going to be an interesting potential top 4 Super Bowl matchup. 2 teams that are led by quarterbacks, 2 teams that are led by running backs. Not necessarily, with a grain of salt here and there. And then there's Baltimore, who kind of have both. So, but yeah, Jamal. Jahmyr Gibbs, absolute superstar. He has leveled up. When that's kind of the example when teams say, everyone's got to do a little bit more, everyone's got to give 110%. Jahmyr Gibbs dug deep and found his 110%, and he's now the best running back in football. And I mentioned that I thought it could be Jack Campbell. This is the example. If Jack Campbell can dig down and find his 110%, can he be Luke Kuechly? That would be an amazing upgrade to this football team. And Jack's still young, so no Ali McNeil as well, so he's got a little bit less beef in front of him to give him some protection, but I'm not, Jack's going to be fine. I hope he's better than fine, but a couple last things with Jahmyr Gibbs. He was the third fastest ball carrier in 2024, just behind Brian Thomas Jr. and Kevontae Turpin. Jahmyr topping out at 22.03 miles per hour. He was also one of few guys to crack the top 10 multiple times. The Detroit People Movers, I mean, you can't credit this offensive line enough. That's the embodiment of toughness right there. Frank Ragnow, Zeitler probably would have played through whatever pulled hamstring he had. Penei Sewell, the best offensive tackle in football. Decker establishing that grit and just determination and loyalty, really, as well. And then Graham Glasgow, versatility. I mean, that offensive line is the backbone of this team. It should be mentioned more. Shame on me for mentioning them third or fourth, depending on how you look at it, but this offensive line is fantastic. J-Mo gets up to 1,000 yards. That's pretty awesome. That's a good sign of culture and awareness from the coaching staff to know that, this guy's been through it in his first few years in the NFL, not being able to get off to a good start. He gets up to 1,000 yards, and I didn't realize it during the game, but you could tell when he got that weird first down when the refs almost screwed us again. Not a big deal. He looked happy. He knew what that play was for. The Lions knew what that play was for. I didn't, but to see him get 1,000 yards was nice. Oh, and at 17 yards per catch, by the way. Best deep ball player in the NFL. No question about it. I mean, even when you try and think of who's next, who is it? Everyone's going to say Tyreek. Tyreek's washed. He's out of Miami. This is his final contract year. Not final contract year, but this is going to be his final shot at a big contract. Someone's going to overpay for him. Probably some flashy team. Would he go to somewhere in New York? Maybe an LA team. No offense, but that's just the vibe I'm getting. J-Mo, best deep ball player in the NFL. Only to be surpassed by Shane Zylstra, averaging 22 yards a catch from one catch, but not a big deal. Yeah, it's this bye is perfect. Monty's going to rest up. Montgomery, maybe Mosley. I don't know what Carlton Davis's timeline was. I think they were thinking only the Super Bowl, him and Hutchinson. But this rest is great for the new additions to the infirmary, Terrion Arnold and Kevin Zeitler. Arnold said after the game that he should be fine. And the last thing I'll say about this Lions-Vikings game, it just seemed like this was the Bane gif where Kevin O'Donnell was like, Kevin O'Donnell? He can be Kevin O'Donnell. What is his name? I don't know. Dan Campbell is Bane. He's like, you merely adopted the dog. Like, the Lions are the embodiment of toughness in the NFL. The Vikings are not even anywhere. They're not tough at all. I couldn't tell you a single tough player on that team. It's my silly opinion. I know they're all tough, but Dan Campbell put the fear of God in them. I don't think they're going to want to come back here in 2 weeks, but they're welcome anytime. I tell you that. So that's my review. Awesome game. Couldn't be higher on the Lions, to be totally honest right now. When the defense has that ability to throw that out there, like a roll of the dice, I don't think it's, it's not a great odds percentage that they're going to pitch that, but maybe it's 50%. If you tell me there's a 50% chance of the Lions to play like that, they're going to win the Super Bowl, because this was a B game from their offense, and they still put up 30. When things are clunking around, turn around and hand the ball off to Gibbs. Throw Amon-Ra a 10-yard in. Give J-Mo a reverse. Just, there's so many players that on this offense can bail you out like that. If you're having a clunker of a game, just keep giving them opportunities. I love the analogy or the idea of rolling the dice, because they're one play away from breaking a long touchdown, or not even so much that. Just a 20-yard chunk play can totally change the game for a team, whether it give you more field position or just get things moving, push the defense back a bit. So if you tell me the Lions defense has a 50% chance of keeping the team 2 touchdowns, there's not a team in the NFL that can keep up with us. I don't think the Eagles are consistent enough. Jalen Hurts is still in the concussion protocol. They're playing this week. They're playing against the Packers. Packers played spoiler last year. Would not be surprised at all that the Packers sneak up on the Eagles and then trip up the following week, because I don't think the Packers are that consistent. The Rams, again, inconsistent. They're putting up 40 against Buffalo, and then the following week, 12 against San Francisco. Stafford is old. They needed a bye week this week to give him a breather. Puka Nakua and Cooper Kupp can barely stay on the field. The Rams are inconsistent, but they've got talent. So who are they playing? So it's Minnesota will be playing the Rams. That could be a good game. I see that as being low scoring. The Vikings, we just proved that there's a reason why I mentioned this earlier as well. There's a reason why nobody kind of remembered that the Vikings are right there at this great record, and it's because the Lions showed them who's boss previously. Like Dan Campbell even said it. I think the year we beat the Packers, the last game of the year, the NFC or the NFC North runs through Detroit, and as long as we're here, you don't need to take anyone else seriously in this division. Sorry, Bears fans. It doesn't matter, Bears fans, if you steal Ben Johnson from us, because we've got Dan Campbell. We've got this offensive line. We've got the best running back in football, the best receiver tandem in football. We have Aiden Hutchinson, the best pass rusher in football. I think we could potentially have the best secondary in football. The corners that we invested in are young and are going to be good. We do have the best safety duo in football. If Jack Campbell levels up, we've got the best linebacker tandem in football. We've got a top 5 defensive tackle in football. Man, is it a good time to be a Lions fan. We are loaded everywhere. What a fun time. I mean, it's not like we haven't invested our time and emotion in this team long enough. So we were due for something, and yeah, let's see. Last breakdown: Bucks and is it Bucks Washington? That'll be a good game. But if you ask me if I'm worried about either of those teams, no. Baker Mayfield is quietly playing at an MVP level. Not enough respect. Second in touchdowns, I believe. Top 5 in yards. Let's see. Let's verify that for you, Baker. Baker playing at an absolute MVP type level. Third in passing yards, tied for second in touchdowns. Nowhere near the MVP conversation. So he's having a great year. They barely squeaked out a win against, who are they even playing? I already don't remember. Carolina or New Orleans? I don't know. Yeah, one of those two teams. Irrelevant. But and the other side of the ball, Jaden Daniels is electric. He's a problem for sure. But and I'm not saying the Lions will absolutely 100% pulverize these teams. But if you're asking me, when you roll the dice, which of these other than Lions teams are consistent enough to where you can absolutely say they have a shot? None of them. The Eagles would have the best chance, but Jalen Hurts might not play this week. So the Lions, in my opinion, have a good path to the Super Bowl. And then I do think there's 3 juggernauts on the other side of the AFC: the Chiefs, the Chiefs, Ravens, and the Bills. Those 3 are going to beat each other up. Whoever comes out on top can come get this belt whooping. And I'll talk about who I think that'll be next time. Appreciate everyone listening, all 4 of you. Tell your friends. Or don't. Keep it to yourself. Appreciate it. Lions win again. Dominant. Enjoy the week off. To all the Lions listening, go Lions.